Goldberg, TV news editor at The Hollywood Reporter, and I'm here for the same reason you are, to celebrate the groundbreaking drama that was Queer as Folk. When the Showtime series premiered in 2000, the LGBT political landscape was considerably different than it is today. Gay marriage wasn't legal anywhere in the US. The Defense of Marriage Act and Don't Ask, Don't Tell were still in place. There were sodomy laws in 14 states making same-sex a criminal act. While society was years away from marriage equality, TV was about to get an honest and unfiltered look at the lives of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender culture. Thanks to Liberty Avenue's Brian Kenny, Michael Novotny, Emmett Honeycutt, Justin Taylor, Ted Schmidt, Ben Bruckner, as well as Lindsay Peterson and Melanie Marcus, Queer as Folk, for 5 seasons and 83 episodes, would tell stories about gay bashing, adoption, coming out, HIV and AIDS, as well as the struggle for equality that helped pave the way for series like Glee, Looking, Modern Family, and The Fosters. Now let's bring everyone out. Series creators Ron Cowan and Daniel Lipman. Series stars Gail Harold, Peter Page, Robert Gantz, and Randy Harrison. Speaking as someone who for this show had a profound effect on my life, thank you so much. And I think I speak for everyone here when I say that. Thank you so much.
Leslie, if I may, first of all, thank you for that lovely reception. If I just may say something, for all of us, I wanted to thank Emily and Caitlin, of course, and Wilson, of course, for making this happen. It's very significant to us. And I also wanted to thank Emily and Caitlin for that beautiful, beautiful clip reel. It really makes me, yes, please. And I say this truly and sincerely, I really want to watch the series from the beginning, all over again.
Well, Ron and Dan, let's start at the beginning. How did you first get involved with Queer as Folk?
Do we pick these up to talk into them, or can you hear us from here? No, we have to hold them up. Okay, hi. We got involved with Queer as Folk because we were working on a project at Showtime that fell through, and we thought that was the saddest day of our lives. And thank God it fell through, because we got to do this instead. They were going to do an American version of the British show. Dan and I had read about it in the Los Angeles Times in the Sunday calendar section. The front page said, "The best show on TV that you'll never see." The article went on to describe why you wouldn't see it, which was because it was sexually graphic and very daring and outrageous. And they said the Americans will never be able to do anything approaching this. So we happened to have run into the president of Showtime, Jerry Offsay, who we owe a huge thank you to for being brave enough to put this show on the air. And we said, and we said, Jerry, we read about this show, and could we do it? And thank God he said, yeah. And so that's how we got involved with the show from the beginning.
I mean, the beginning wasn't as easy as we think it was. I mean, what kind of early obstacles did you face? I mean, was it easy to cast this show?
Well, before we go to the casting, Ron and I had never really seen the show. So we were sent the DVDs. They might have even been tapes at that point. This was when was this? Yeah, 1998 or 99. And we were startled. We were shocked. We said, "My God, how can we possibly do this?" But we really made a pact with each other that if we were going to do this, we approached the network, so we've got to at least match the British show or exceed it. And I think we did, in many ways, exceed it in terms of the graphic nature of it. Yeah, because I remember in Toronto. In Toronto, we had a screening with Russell T Davies, and they showed our pilot, and they showed the first episode. If you're familiar with the British series, they only did 6 episodes, and 8 episodes in all. And we were watching the British pilot, and we were saying, the first British episode, and I remember we turned to each other and we said, "That's nothing. Look what we did." You know? It's true. As far as casting goes, I'm going to cut to the chase before I tell you about the casting, because I'm sorry all of our cast isn't here, but our cast, these people are the most extraordinary people and actors you cannot imagine. We'll always be grateful to them, first of all, just for being great friends and family, but also for their courage and performances. But we faced a lot of difficulty in casting this. Usually when you cast and you go in for a casting session, let's say there are 50 people, and Peter, who is now a producer of a wonderful show, creator of Fosters, we're very proud of him. He knows this for certain. You go to casting and you see that maybe out of 50, 60 people, a few are labeled NA, not available. So our casting director, Linda Lowy, would say, "Oh, come in today. We have 50 people who are coming." We'd go to the casting session and 5 would show up. And you'd see NA, 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 NA. The major agencies would not let their clients audition for this. I will tell you, basically what happened was, and pardon me, I don't mean to monopolize, though I am, but pardon me. But it's an interesting thing about...
Though I'm not going to stop.
Casting. You'll all get your turn. This is my moment. No. Anyway, the first person to be cast was Scott Lowell, and then Hal. And Peter came in, and brilliant actor as he is, he read for a Ted. And I remember running after him and saying, after he finished, he said, Peter, would you please read for Emmett, which he did, and he was brilliant. 3 of them were brilliant. And Ron and I said, this was one day. This is the easiest thing we've ever done. But then...
Despite the fact that no major agency would send any of their clients in, absolutely no one.
Right. That's right. Then we, I think Sharon Gless came in. There was no one who was considered for the role except Sharon Gless, and she came on her own dime from Chicago. Yeah. Jerry Offsay said, "What about Sharon Gless for Debbie?" And we said, well, what about her? And she was doing a play in Chicago. She had somehow gotten the script, and Debbie was a very small role in the original, and in the pilot. And she said, I smell danger, and if she were here, she would say, "I smell danger, and I want to be part of this. Trouble. I smell trouble. I want to be part of this." We could not find a Justin, and we went. Randy was in New York and was put on tape. And we went through stacks and stacks. Why don't you tell that story?
Randy, we couldn't find anyone, and there was a casting agent in New York who sent us tapes, and we were looking at these tapes, and no one seemed to be right for the part. And I don't know whose brilliant idea it was, but somebody said, "Did you send us the tapes of everyone you saw?" And the casting agent back there said, "Well, not everyone." And we said, "Could we please see the ones you didn't send us?" And among those was the one they should have sent, this alleged casting director. Anyway, and there was Randy, and that's how we found Randy.
And now, I just want to reveal something. The reason when you watch Queer as Folk, there's so much ice and snow is because we could not find Brian. And we kept pushing the production date further. We were supposed to be shooting it in, I guess, June through October in Toronto, because in the writers' room we were all writing these scenes with these men marching around in their T-shirts, and of course it translated once we shot it, mufflers, mucklucks. Everyone was sitting there freezing. We could not find Brian at all, and we were going this one day, the following day, to the network. You go to the network and you take your choices, and hopefully they agree with you. So, and this particular morning, Jerry Offsay, who was the president of Showtime, was taking his son to an interview at a college, a university, and we had to have remember, at 7 o'clock in the morning, everyone had to be there. So it was getting to around 5 o'clock the night before, and we said, well, I don't know, how can we do the show? We don't have Brian. And Linda Lowy called and said, at 5 o'clock, and said, he's here. We said, are you kidding? No, he's here. Come over right away. And we did. And there was Mr. Harold sitting there. And Gail read for us, and we were just stunned by it. We couldn't believe it. And we said, Gail, you have to come to the network tomorrow at 7 o'clock. And Gail, in a very Brian-esque way, he sat there, he lit up a cigarette. He said, I can't be there. Can't be there. And isn't this true? Yeah, I can't be there. I said, well, why? He said, well, I'm striking I'm with this theater company. We're striking a set tonight, and I can't be there. Somehow, Gail, we convinced you to come, and the rest is history. And now I'll let someone else talk.
I mean, it's quite an incredible journey, and I mean, for the cast, did you have any trepidation when you first signed on?
I'm openly gay. My manager at the time was gay, and that was not a big issue really for anybody. And back then it was a big issue in the business. And he read the script and he was like, "Well, that's pretty. Okay, well, yeah, good. All right, just go see what happens." And then it started getting closer and closer and closer. And the day of the screen test, they sent over, and I'm not making this number up, a 21-page nudity writer. To our contracts, a 21-page nudity writer. And what it said, it was 2 pages that were the actual writer. It said, this is the kind of show this is. If you are not down to do this, don't take this job. And then it had 19 pages of the script attached, which were all just ass fucking. No, it wasn't from you guys. It was Business Affairs. Business Affairs didn't want us not to. You guys? It said basically, even if your character isn't getting laid in this episode, you're going to be. Is basically what it said, which I took as a bonus, but my team did not. And Calvin, rest his soul, he called me up and he said, "I don't think you should go." He said, "I think we should bail." And I said, let me think about it. And I remember vividly waking up in the morning and going, I'll kill myself if I have to watch somebody else do this show. Okay, it may be the end of my career, so be it. I'll kill myself if somebody else does it. So.
And anybody else have good stories where there were instant reaction from your managers, talent, friends, family?
I had no trepidation about it, but I was also very young and very naive, and I had no representation, so nobody was telling me anything. It also I had just been in college, and I'd done like shopping and fucking and like Hello Again, so I was like used to doing graphic gay content, so I was like, I already know how to do this, let's do it. I mean, looking back, I should have thought about it more, but I was excited to do it, because I knew what it would be socially and politically if it actually was made and people saw it, and I wanted to be a part of that my entire life up until that point. So.
And Gail, what was it like for you to play gay at a time like this? Did you struggle with public opinion afterwards? And finding other roles afterwards?
I didn't really have any problem with the idea of playing a gay character at the time. I didn't understand what would happen in a lot of different ways, but I had no hesitation to play that character. I had seen a VHS copy of the original series. My girlfriend at the time had showed me some of it, and she actually called me and she goes, I have got something you've got to see, just from a film, television, creative performance perspective. So I watched it and I was really impressed, and it was the most graphic thing I had seen television-wise. Gay man, and it was Aidan Gillen, and I was just totally impressed by him, and that's kind of where it stopped for me. And then when my manager, Suzanne DeWalt, called and told me about this project, I'd already decided to leave Los Angeles. I was trying to flip a coin between New York and Chicago because television was not working out for me. I just wanted to be on stage. But my primary concern was not to let down friends of mine that I'd grown up with, that I had known, who may not have been out, but they were dear people to me. And I didn't want to do a disservice to them, and I wanted to maybe get half as good as Aidan got. And I took it as a challenge, but I honestly really thought that it was never going to happen. You know, I thought, okay, I'm going to go and I'll read for it, and then that'll be that. And then I'll leave Los Angeles. And then I went and tested, and I thought, this is going to be funny. And, but it's not going to happen. I mean, I believed the character, I believed what I was doing, but I really thought that was never going to come down, you know? And then when it did, it was sort of like the horses out of the gate, just stay on. And so it's not until after time has passed that I realized now what it meant. And I didn't have the presence of mind to understand it at the time, by any means.
It was less than 2 weeks from when most of us got cast anyway, because most of us got cast in that last session, till we were in Canada shooting. I mean, and that was pack up your life, go, then we're moving you into a hotel, and you'll have to find an apartment once you get there. Say goodbye to everyone you know and love. I know you thought it was Vancouver, it's not. It was crazy, and that did take a lot of it was such a whirlwind, you didn't really have time to think about anything.
Yeah, and no, Randy and I dove in so deep so soon, so quickly.
That's what she said?
It's a choice of words.
But that was probably to our benefit, I think, to all of us, that, you know, I don't know how it worked for you and for the other actors in terms of doing your first sort of, your first day?
No. My first day was dancing or something. I don't remember, in like a pink t-shirt. No, but my first day, they picked me up from the airport. They brought me to Dufferin Gate to the studio, and they were like, here, sign some papers, and here, go for a fitting. Poor Julie, that first costume designer. Oh God, she had me in like a big floppy hat and a garden dress. Like, it was really not cute. But after my fitting, I went to Dan and Ron like in a panic, like, can we talk about this? They like walked me over to like lunch, and like Gail and Randy come out of the stage where they built Brian's loft, and they're in robes, and I was like, hey guys, what's up? How's it going? And Gail just goes, it's pretty intense. It's pretty intense. God's honest truth.
I was teaching him some wrestling moves, and that's all.
Ron.
I think I was in shock like the entire year. I really do, looking back.
Yeah.
It was just such a traumatic time.
And
obviously I came in a little bit after the fact, and things were already, well established. Just to, speak to, first encountering the role. It was at the same time. I've heard this litmus test. You're in the right place when you're both scared and excited at the same time, and I was terrified because I'd built this whole like wall against people knowing that I was gay, and yet the excitement of watching it was these two guys kiss and make love just like hit me to my core, and so the prospect of doing it was thrilling and excruciatingly scary, to be willing to let that wall crumble. And there were so many people who were after the fact, when the whole sort of coming out thing came around, were really, cautioning against that. It was a real transitional experience, to be sure.
there were a couple of members of the cast that wouldn't tell you if they were straight or gay.
Well, I think Gail and Scott if I'm not mistaken, of the first season, they, and Gail can of course speak for himself, but they both wanted, they didn't want any of that to influence their performances, so they didn't reveal their sexuality. Is that correct?
I thought it was very classy. I as one of the open gay members of the cast, Randy and I, by the way, publicity came to us all before, and they were like, "You don't have to say anything. People are going to ask questions." And Randy and I were the only two at the time, and we looked at each other. We were like,
Like, you're going to do this show and then
a show called Queer as Folk, and then be like, "I don't know." I can play coy with the best of them, but Jesus Christ, that's seemed Herculean. I don't know how Sean Hayes did it all those years. Well, I mean, on the cover of Duh magazine, I'm gay. Oh, really, Sean? Thank you. Sorry, I love Sean and he's a genius. But I always thought it was incredibly classy that Gail and Scott were just like, I don't want to engage, and it's not. And it was for absolutely the right reasons. It was to protect us, I think, and it was to protect your characters and make sure that people didn't have some filter and weren't watching it going, oh, yeah, he's straight. I knew it. I see it. There it is. He's not lisping. He's straight. I mean, I thought you guys were super classy about that.
I think just watching this, when we began this, I think my voice is maybe 1 octave lower, just in general. And that was my secret weapon. I sounded like I was 5 years old, and I think the combination of my bird-like voice and my not revealing my true identity, it played. You know that. But yeah, we just felt like it was unnecessary. It would have been an obstacle that was not required. And I think both Scott and I, we share a certain way of thinking. We wanted to disappear as much as we could inside that character, and both of us were, let's face it, we were unknowns. I didn't have an agent. I was on your team, right? I didn't have an agent when I got this job. I had a manager, a lovely woman who helped me get this job. So I had no reason to not, come from absolute left field.
And in a larger sense, this show has done so much to further the equality movement, and to see, for me, it was about seeing a version of myself on screen for the first time. And as someone who, I came out maybe 2-3 years before, I'd never seen anything like this show.